The Adventures of Florian. Once upon a time, in a land of forgotten grandeur, lived a noble widow and her only daughter, Isabella. Though their blood was blue, their pockets were empty, and they resided in a crumbling old house, a relic of better days. He'd raised his daughter not just as a lady, but as an heir, teaching her everything a father would teach his son. Isabella was a master of the horse, a swift swimmer, and a formidable fencer. In truth, she was more comfortable in breeches than in a boat, leaving Isabella with nothing but the decaying estate and a heart full of memories. With no money to sustain her, but for a lone woman, it also held peril. With a heavy heart and a steady hand, she sheared her long, beautiful hair, donned a set of her father's old clothes, and set out for the city. No longer as Isabella, Ipan. Upon arriving in the bustling city, Florian fell in with a group of esquires, introducing himself as a young man looking for service. A formidable knight, clad head to toe in black armor and mounted on a powerful black steed, galloped towards them, shuffling their feet and pretending not to hear. The esquire leaned in, his voice a low whisper. "His castle is said to be haunted, filled with demons and restless spirits." The wizard looked down at the bold young man, his eyes, after a long, silent moment, he simply nodded. Traveling for days through wild, untamed lands, until a dark before they crossed the threshold, the wizard stopped and turned to Florian. His voice was deep and resonant. "Inside this castle, you will see and hear things that would curdle the blood of most men. Do not let them frighten you. Trust that no spirit, no power, can harm you as long as you are under my protection. Be loyal, be true, and you will never have cause to regret your service." The years that followed were filled with strange sights and eerie sounds, but Florian held fast to his promise. He served the wizard with unwavering loyalty, his spirit unshaken by the ghostly whispers and fleeting shadows that danced in the castle's halls. The wizard, in turn, grew to respect the steadfast and capable young man he knew as Florian. The quiet, haunted life at the Black Rock had been a safe harbor, but his adventurous spirit longed for new horizons. He approached the wizard one evening and respectfully announced his intention to leave. The wizard, who had come to view Florian almost as a son, nodded slowly. "Oh, I will not hold you back, but I will not send you away empty-handed either." The wizard presented the first gift, a delicate necklace with a golden charm shaped like a tiny bird. "This will protect you from all forms of harmful magic," he explained. "And it will sing a warning whenever you are near danger." The second gift was a simple, ornate key. "With this key," the wizard continued, "you can open any lock, any door in the world. Should you ever lose your way, place this sphere on the ground, and it will guide you." Florian thanked the wizard profusely, his heart filled with gratitude. His search for a new position led him to the magnificent court of the 12 Towers, ruled by a kind king and queen. There, Florian entered the service of their son, the handsome and brave Prince. The prince was every bit as noble and charming as the stories told. And it wasn't long before Florian, or rather, Isabella, found herself falling hopelessly in love with him. But she kept her feelings locked away, a secret hidden beneath her masculine disguise. Ruled by a king with a famously beautiful daughter, Princess Rosamond, hoping a match would be made, Prince Florizel, delighted at the prospect of an adventure, asked his trusted companion, Florian, to join his retinue. The royal company traveled through lush forests and across rolling hills. One bright morning, Prince Florizel spotted a flower of such breathtaking beauty that he felt compelled to pick it for his mother. As he reached for its stem, the little golden bird on Florian's necklace suddenly burst into a frantic, high-pitched song, Rosette. A second thought. Florian lunged forward, snatched the flower just before the prince's fingers could touch it, and hurled it into a ravine. The prince's companions were shocked. Florizel, though surprised, was more forgiving than his retinue. A short while later, as they continued on their path, the prince noticed something glittering in the dust of the road. It was a magnificent dagger, its hilt inlaid with jewels. Florian's golden bird once again began to sing, its melody filled with urgent warning. Faster than a striking snake, Florian darted forward, grabbed the dagger, and flung it into a deep ditch. "Florian, what is the meaning of this?" the prince demanded, his patience wearing thin. "The bird was warning us." But before he could finish, the prince's attention was captured by a sight ahead. Just off the path lay an impossibly beautiful garden, filled with exotic flowers, iridescent butterflies, and birds singing enchanting melodies. It was mesmerizing. "Please, my prince, don't go in there," Florian begged, grabbing Florizel's arm. "It's a trap." But the allure of the garden was too strong. The prince and his companions, captivated by the magical scene, ignored Florian's pleas and walked towards the ornate gate. Every single member of the retinue turned to cold, lifeless stone. Only Florian and Prince Florizel remained, protected by the wizard's charm. From the shadows of the garden emerged a wicked witch, her face twisted in a triumphant sneer. A trap to ensnare the prince so she could force him to marry her hideous daughter. The witch's eyes immediately fell on the golden bird around Florian's neck. The entire castle and its enchanted garden shimmered, faded, and vanished, transported to the farthest corner of the world. Taking the captive Prince Florizel with them, Florian stood alone amidst the petrified statues of his former companions, the silence of the forest deafening. But despair was not an option. And as the wizard had promised, it began to glow and roll, pointing the way. The journey was long and treacherous. Florian crossed vast deserts, climbed impassable mountains. He steadfastly refused, his heart remaining true, though he had no idea to whom. That evening, as Florian stood exhausted but determined before the garden gate, Florian took out the second of the wizard's gifts, the universal key. One by one, he approached the heavy doors. Florizel, gaunt but unbroken, gasped in relief at the sight of his loyal friend. Their reunion was cut short. The witch, sensing the disturbance in her magic, discovered the escape and was upon them in a fury. Her eyes glowed with malice as she raised her hands to cast a spell. She shrieked. He ripped the golden bird necklace from his own neck and threw it over Florizel's head, their eyes burning like coals, and set them upon the helpless creature. The prince, now protected, did his best to fight off the dogs and shield the little hare that was once his friend. He was no longer a knight in black armor, but a figure of immense power, his eyes blazing with righteous fury. The spectral hounds vanished into smoke, and with a single gesture, he ensnared the wicked witch in bonds of pure energy, her own magic turning against her. The wizard then turned his attention to the small hare cowering at Florizel's feet. And back in the forest, the petrified retinue stirred, returning to life, confused but unharmed. "What a shame Princess Rosamond isn't here!" A knowing smile touched the wizard's lips. "That woman is already here." He gently touched Isabella with his staff once more. Her simple clothes transformed into a breathtaking gown, revealing a beauty that outshone any princess. Florizel stared, utterly enchanted. Messengers were sent at once to fetch Florizel's parents, the king and queen of the 12 Towers. And, as all the best stories end, they lived happily ever after.